Friday 2 a.m. Well, it might not be Friday 2 a.m., but it's your host at Friday 2 a.m. Um, so it's a new year. I'm recording this on the first day of the new year of 2026. I might not finish recording it today, but um, yeah. So I thought about this quote that I read a million years ago, and I just don't remember um, who it was by, but I know it felt so meaningful to me that I wrote it on the wall in my room. And the quote said, "We were rushing to be happy." And maybe this is is something that I want to start talking about, because I feel it's played a huge part in my life. I feel like I've been doing a lot of this throughout my life, and I'm sure um, everyone has done this to some extent at some point. Um, so today's episode, I actually asked my ChatGPT um, to think of 10 questions that they would want to ask me, they would want me to reflect on, things that they would want to know my opinion on. And I don't know why I connected this theme with the quote that I just mentioned, but somehow they got connected, and so I just thought I'd mention it. So here are the questions. I'm just going through them now more thoroughly for the first time. I mean, I read them once a while back, but I never really kind of paid attention to them. So it will almost be like I'm reading them for the first time. Um, my point is. And I'll just try to reflect on them as I record this without um, pausing a lot or without stopping the recording and whatnot. Although they're not easy questions, I find. Okay, so the first question goes like this. So ChatGPT asks me the following: what does life seem to reward even when it pretends not to? Hmm, that's I feel like in my perception of things, life rewards. No, I think life rewards anyone and everyone, even if even when it pretends not to. So I wanted to say, initially my instinct was to say, oh, life rewards the brave, and it definitely rewards the brave. But it's not like it's pretending not to reward the brave. I don't. It's not a secret that the brave people get rewarded uh, more often than not. But I think it pretends that it doesn't reward the weak, but it does. So, it's not that life pretends. Life doesn't do anything. I just think that people don't see it. We don't see it because we are only able to look at a certain segment. As humans, we're limited, as I spoke in a previous episode, we're limited in so many things, and in our perception as well. We're only uh, able to observe our lives a certain extent, a certain part of our lives, but our observation capacities um, do not extend to the or rarely extend to the global impression or to the life of others. We just don't know how our lives are connected, or how everything plays out in the grand scheme of things. So we don't have this overview. And this is not something new that I'm saying. I mean, I'm sure everyone has noticed this. Um, So we don't notice, it's difficult for us to notice how life rewards people that are weak, or even ourselves when we're at our lowest, because maybe we don't have that practice of having the overview of things, or we don't even have access to the overview of things. So because we do have, we are able to look at the bigger picture to a certain extent, but even that we don't practice that much, do we tend to just um I guess our focus gets narrowed down due to our emotions. So we just tend to focus what's in front of us, therefore mm, at times missing this practice of stepping back and looking at the bigger picture. So it's like when you're emotionally activated, and usually I'm talking about negative emotions, um, then we think, oh, life is punishing me. So, or life is not rewarding me right now because I'm having this unpleasant experience. So how could life reward me in this moment? And this is where the I think life pretends not to um, reward the weak, but it does. It's because in that moment we fail to see, we don't have the access to the bigger picture even sometimes, or if we do, we're just not able to step back and look at it. But actually, if we did any of those things, we would see that life always rewards us, and actually life is always on our side. Life is always life always happens for us, and everything that happens, even the most horrible things, happen for us. So I guess in short, um, life rewards people, life loves people, not just people, life loves life. I know it sounds so simple and so silly to say, but we are life, isn't it? We are just one of the manifestations of life. We are, so why wouldn't life love us? So yeah. Yeah, I know maybe the conclusion does not seem very elevated, but to me actually, I think it's yeah, this is the essence of what I believe and what I've noticed. Okay, so the next question is, what is the biggest lie people collectively agree to live by? Um, I think it's I think it has to do with fear. Um, Maybe that um, the lie is that I'm not safe. I think that is the biggest lie we collectively agree to live by. And I think so. There's it's I understand it's a real experience for people that they don't feel safe in the world. Um, and yeah, definitely they might not be safe. They might live in unsafe places or life circumstances. That is true, actually, on a certain level, but on the in the grand scheme of things, and on if you so if you basically if you think of a picture of a painting on a wall, and it's like we have taken the main character from that painting, presuming that the painting has a main character in it, which is a person. It's like we have taken the main character out of the picture, and we have just looked at it individually, and the picture is um I'd say God, creation, the universe, however you want to call it. And when you when you just when you take the person out of that, or you think that the person is disconnected from the universe or from everything that surrounds the person, then your the focus narrows down, the focus of your understanding narrows down. It connects to the previous thing that I was saying, because it's, yeah, if you look at just now, if I'm hungry and I look at just this moment and I don't have food, yeah, I am unsafe. It feels unsafe to not have food or not have money to get food, and that I'm gonna die. But if I put myself back into the bigger picture, back into my painting, where I belong, which is, connected to everything that there is, even if I die, let's say, even if I die, my death would have had its own role, and everything that happened with me would have had its own role. I mean, that's my belief. Of course, I have no way to prove this, but basically, if you regardless, if you experience fear and this feeling of unsafety, if you think of, there is a grand scheme of a bigger there is a bigger picture, and I am connected to everything, and I am held to a certain extent, and nothing that I could experience uh, can destroy my soul or my essence, and everything is just experience, no matter how painful it is, then you realize that there is no there isn't a notion of being unsafe, because at all times it's like you are in the hands of the creator. You are walk everywhere you walk, it's in the hands of the creator. So that's what I mean by, I think it's an illusion, this a lie that we're unsafe. um it's about, I guess it's about also surrendering, isn't it? It's about that's I'm not saying to I'm not saying obviously to put yourself in dangerous situations or anything like that, by no means. What I'm saying is that, um, do your best to always um, create pragmatic safety for you around you. And by pragmatic safety, I mean, um, on a very with a very small, very narrow focus, uh, safety within that narrow focus. And by that I mean safety for the character taken out of the picture that I mentioned. So do everything you can to create pragmatic safety for you. But if for whatever reason you're unable to do so, or have tried everything and it's outside of your control, once you've tried everything, but try everything regardless, and that's but once you've tried everything and it's outside of your control, just surrender into the, I guess, I mean, accept how you're feeling, but have trust that you are held at all times, um, regardless. If like, the soul cannot be destroyed. That is what I truly believe. And yeah, it's horrible to go through horrible things, but if you connect to your essence, I think you can realize that, you know, the the phoenix bird can rise from the ashes, and it does rises from the ashes because it never died. That's basically what I'm trying to say here. So, okay, the next one is, what actually heals people and what only distracts them from pain? Um, I One of the things that comes to mind is what I've noticed. Um, One of the most healing things, I don't want to say it's the most healing, but certainly it's one of the most healing things, is when people are witnessed just as they are in their rawest um, form. Um, so people have a lot of pains and a lot of things they're I guess they're ashamed of, or they don't want anyone to see, and they use that all that energy to hide that up. And if they go into therapy and they have this safe space and they end up being witnessed by the therapist without the therapist even saying anything, but just through that space that another human being has seen you in your quote in your um, let's say ugliest form. I'm saying it's a figure of speech. I don't actually mean ugliest form, but it's as a figure of speech. If when someone has seen you, has witnessed you in your ugliest form, and or in the form that not that it's the ugliest, but that you consider to be the ugliest actually, or that you consider to be the most shameful, and they haven't run away, and they haven't, they're still there and they're still compassionate towards you. I think that's extremely, extremely powerful and healing. Um, so that's one thing that I believe actually heals people, to be witnessed. It doesn't have to be a therapist, it might be someone, just a human being, but yeah. And what distracts them from pain? Um, Fear, I'd say. Definitely fear distracts people from pain because fear tells you consciously and unconsciously, as in you might realize that, oh, but I'm scared that if I allow myself to feel all this pain, I'm not gonna be able to handle it, hence the conscious part. And unconsciously, well, maybe some people are not even articulating this to themselves, or maybe they're saying to themselves the first part, but there's hidden dimensions um to what fear is telling them. And yeah, so fear is the one I believe that distracts people from pain. um and everything else, basically everything else is a tool in the hands of fear. So uh, whatever addictions of any kind, social media, whatever. I don't think social media is this huge, it's like a witch or whatever, it's a universal bad thing. I don't see it like that. But any good thing that it's used to in an extreme way is damaging, isn't it? Even if you eat 100 apples a day, you're gonna be sick. It's not gonna be good for your body. So that's the point I want to make. Okay, next one is, where do humans most often confuse control with safety? Hmm. Where do humans most often confuse control with safety? Where? I don't understand. I'm not sure I understand the question, but I think it's um I think people, if they're not able to, if they haven't learned how to regulate their own emotions, they're gonna be more prone to give up the control of their life to someone else, so that someone else manages their emotions, so that they become vulnerable, like that. And oftentimes it's these other people are not, I don't, it just happens like that. Oftentimes these other people are not always well intended, um so then that's how they confuse control with safety, as in they think that this other person who has saved them from this unwanted emotions, or they couldn't, from these emotions that they couldn't process, uh, is safe, when in fact it's just trying to control them using their emotions against them. it can happen. I'm not saying it in every case. It's like this, but I think it's a vulnerability. Um, so yeah, I don't know about the where part of the question. Where, I don't know. I don't understand exactly why it's formulated like this, but this is my best answer. Okay, number 5. What pattern keeps repeating across individuals, societies, and history that few are willing to name? Uh, I think one pattern that I see is the pattern of um, people. I feel like we collectively still need more education on fully taking responsibility of our lives and what that means in all of its aspects. And when I say that, I mean, there's so many aspects of taking responsibility for one's own life. And for instance, um, your life is organized outside, how you provide for yourself, um, your emotional life, things like that. So I feel like because of this, we keep going through, um, because of this, a lot of people still not being very aware of what it is to take full responsibility of their lives. Um, so because a lot of people are still not aware of that, we keep going through these cycles of blaming people outside of ourselves and create polarizing, um, polarized societies, and like, oh, they're the enemy, or they're causing me, they're the reason why I'm suffering in my life. um it's because of that, blah blah blah. That's what I think it is. Okay, I think I'm getting tired. Number 6. What emotion truly governs human behavior beneath all the rationalizations? Definitely fear, for sure. It's fear is an emotion that governs human behavior, a very powerful one. And another one is the need for connection. That's those two, I would say. Yeah. And connection is actually, there's so many layers to connection. Um, but I think one of those is the need to be seen, isn't it? We want to connect with other people because we have a visceral need to be seen. Yeah, that's what I have on that topic at the moment. Then on number 7, I have the question of what kind of suffering appears unnecessary and what kind seems strangely formative. Yeah, this question is a bit, I don't know. I mean, I don't think any suffering is unnecessary, or I don't think anything should be a certain way. I think, um, I believe if we're gonna achieve enlightenment as individuals or as society or as a collective, it has to happen through organic ways. You cannot force enlightenment onto someone. Um, or you cannot force yourself to just become enlightened. It's a unfolding process. It's a journey. So that's why I don't think anything is unnecessary, or that I just don't think things, um um in order for the process to be organic, I think things cannot be fixed. You cannot say, oh, it can only happen in this way, otherwise it's not the right way. No, I think it just well, I guess I realize it when I'm saying that they have to be organic. It's like I'm limiting this idea, isn't it? But um I think we're entering the realm of relativity, and it's becoming a mess because, yeah, even if you're taking the non-organic pathway and you're forcing yourself to become something, you're like squeezing, is like squeezing your foot to fit to fit some shoes, like in the Cinderella story. That in itself is a formative experience, and that in itself is not wrong. So I just think that the organic way is the the healthiest way. However, in the grand scheme of things, no experience, nothing is wrong. And no experience is wrong. No experience is the wrong way, because even if it has horrible results, it will still lead you somewhere, and it will eventually um, lead you to the light, even though, albeit it might lead you to through the light, through a horribly long tunnel of pain, but it's still, light is always there waiting for us. That's, I believe that to the bottom of my heart. So yeah, on that topic, moving on. um okay, number 8. What do people sense intuitively about life as children, but are trained out of believing? I think one of the things that comes to my mind is, as children, we are more connected to this feeling of people are good to the core. And as we live our lives, and as we live in the world, as it is, um, I guess our hearts close off even more, and there's more and more barriers against the other, and we lose the connections a lot of the times with that feeling that people are actually good, and that's sad. um yeah, but it does happen. Okay, number 9. If humanity were less afraid, what would change first? um what would change first? If they were less afraid, they would be friends with each other. They would focus on collaboration rather than conflict. They would focus on using the of putting on the table, bringing to the table the best of each of us, as in, like, what am I best at, what is this person best at, and what is the other person best at, and putting all of those qualities to the table, and create a better lives for all of us. um so I think that's what would change first. We would just stop fighting, and we would collaborate more if we were less afraid, because it's fear that's driving all of that, isn't it? um yeah. And finally, at number 10, what does life seem to ask of us, not morally but energetically, to stay aligned with? I don't think life asks anything of us per se. Life a lot. I think the biggest gift is the gift of free will. But I think a more appropriate way to express that would be, um, what does life wish for us? I feel life wishes for us to be authentic, to live our lives from a place of mm, who we truly are. Um, and that in itself is a huge discussion, because who am I, right? I can be 10 different things at the same time, in the same second. I can be happy, angry, hungry, whatever, 10 different things in one single split second. And so then, which of those 10 different things am I? So that doesn't mean that I need to um, openly manifest at all times, everything that I am, because I just don't think that's sustainable, and that's not possible with community living, or with living in the world, because inevitably it's gonna mm, create an unpleasant situation for the person next to me. And I think that should be something that we should we should be mindful of not to do in this world. As in, like, for instance, if one of these 10 uh, parts of me, let's say, at any given split second, wants to, um, I don't know, put my feet on the chair in front of me with my dirty shoes. If I do that, then the person who comes to sit there with maybe they got their new clothes, isn't it? Or maybe they got uh, the first set of new clothes in their lives with the money that their dying mom left them. I'm just creating a dramatic story, and then they sit on that chair, and because I put my feet on that chair with mud on them, they stain their clothes. And just imagining a scenario. So I think, being authentic doesn't mean, turning ourselves inside out at all times. I just think it means have this self-awareness and self-acceptance of, oh yeah, I have this 10 sides to me. I just gave a random number, 10. But right now, the most appropriate one to manifest is this side of me. But that doesn't mean that I reject the other sides of me. It just means that through my free will, through my choice, I don't want to be this person who, or maybe I do. It's whatever you want. But yeah, that's what I believe. And yeah, so I think life would wish us um, to be accepting of ourselves, to not abandon ourselves. Okay, I feel like I should end with a quote. I hope you found these things interesting, and maybe it's made you reflect on certain things, or maybe you found my ideas simple and not interesting to you, and that's also fine. But I thought it was interesting to ask ChatGPT to for these questions. And I'm gonna pause for a second just to listen, just to find a quote, and then we're gonna end it. So I'll be right back. So I'm gonna end with this quote by Albert Camus. It says, "But the heart sometimes blindly seeks suffering." And I think it's funny because I started this with that quote of we were rushing to be happy, and but the truth is, even though rationally we might tell ourselves that, and consciously we might believe that at times there are on deeper levels we could have resistance against happiness, um, as paradoxical as it may sound, because who wouldn't want to be happy? But um, yeah, happiness is a huge topic. And sadness. But I'm gonna end it here. And yeah, Happy New Year and dream on.